Hello there, it's Reiem here, and I just wrapped up the other night my first game, or my game for round one of the Iron Chef tournament. It's a fun little tournament organized by Stewbucket on the main Armada Discord channel. It is a 4-round tournament that runs over 4 weeks, so you have 1 week for each round. And it's basically a standard tournament, except that every week you're playing with a different fleet, because every week you have 4 different random restrictions to building your fleet. 3 of them are required. The 4th one, if you do manage to complete, or that is, you do all 4 of them, excuse me, you get an extra 1.5 tournament points. So it really encourages you to make interesting lists, because all these there's over more than 100 different random things that you can be assigned. Really can push your fleets in interesting directions. This time I got to try a ship that I've had on paper for a while but never had a reason to fly. It turned out to be a lot of fun, and I got to fight a very interesting fleet as well. So with that, if you want full details on what all the different options are, if you go to the main Armada Discord channel under the Iron Chef tournament, it's pinned in there. There's a Google document of all the different options. But the ones that I got randomly selected for my round 1 fleet were 7, 37, 45, 99. So going through them, number 7 was run at least 1 ship with a command value of 4. Nova Defiant counts. Number 37 was your commander must be on your cheapest ship after counting upgrade cards, but before counting the points your commander adds, but you cannot place it on a flotilla. So this tournament doesn't break any normal standard Armada rules, just as these small restrictions. 45 was run a fleet with at least 1 squadron, where every squadron has a unique dot. So I had to run at least 1 squadron, and every other squadron I ran in there, including that one, had to be unique, aka a name squadron or with defense tokens and ace. And then 99 was across your entire fleet must have a grand total of exactly 6 brace tokens. This includes squads, or at least I took it to mean squads as well. And the part in parentheses just means that at start of game you need to have these defense tokens. So if instead of brace the ingredient said a restriction said contain, and you use Captain Nita to get rid of a contain, that won't count. It has to be at game start after effects of all officers and other replacement effects. You have this number of brace tokens. In my case, it's brace tokens and 6 of them. All right, Iron Chef round 1 for Spike. His 4 ingredients were 32, 67, 93, and 100. So 32 was run a fleet that fills every potential defensive retrofill slot. If you're flying Imperial or CIS fleet, you must include Minister Tua or the Invincible title, respectively. Invincible is if you're flying a Providence. Run 1 of the commanders equipped on the appropriate titled flagship, so anything from canon where one of the characters or one of the admirals in the game is on a ship. That's this restriction. That would be a really fun one. There's some interesting options available here. 93 is have a bid of exactly 5 points. And then 100 is across your entire fleet you must have a grand total of exactly 4 redirect tokens. So kind of like my brace, but slightly smaller number. So that's the restrictions. We actually both met all 4, so we both got an extra 1.5 tournament points. With that, we'll go over the different fleets here. Show you what we did. So this is what I had for round 1. I decided to fly CIS. I normally fly GAR, but if I don't fly GAR, I enjoy CIS. And there are a couple things I wanted to try that I've had on paper, and I could fit in here, so I thought it'd be fun. So starting off my list, I have a Hardcell Transport. It was my cheapest ship after upgrades. So Kraken had to go on here to meet the conditions. So it's a Hardcell with Kraken, Parts resupply, beasts of burn. Hang out on the back keeps Kraken safe. Give out tokens and also refresh defense tokens. Next, I had the Munificent class Star Frigate with Wat Tambor, medical team, thermal shields, high capacity Ion Turbines, linked Turbolaser towers, and sound Nalaor. This was probably one of my tankiest ship in the fleet here. Wat really helps heal if you're taking a beating. It can pull shields off Hardcells or some other ship that isn't being shot up. Medical teams, it's 1 point. I knew he was going for a 5-point bid. I just decided I'd let him win the bid, not worry about it. Medical teams is a nice way that it forces your opponent to decide if they do want to crit you or not, because you can just negate a damage. Thermals, pretty good defensive retrofit in most cases, helps it be tanky. I decided to go with the high capacity ion turbines just because not everybody, but it's favored to go PDX. But I think throwing blues out the side of the Munificent would be good. Make those side arcs that much more powerful. I mean, they're blue, so you're never going to have a bad face, and it just helps enhance your reds. And then Sound Nalaor just also really helps tank, gets those evades that long if you need to. Third ship was the Recusant class support destroyer. With Passel, weapons battery techs, quad turbolaser cannons, and Nova Defiant. So I met the requirement of 4-command ship. I like the look of Nova Defiant. I think it would work good on a support destroyer. It's something I've had on paper for a while. Quad turbolaser cannons I thought would be fun with Kraken. This is the one that is, if you have a red accuracy, you get another red set to an accuracy. So really trying to hone in on the accuracies that just like punch through. If you can lock like a redirect and lock like a brace, really just slam through whatever hull zone you're shooting and get in straight to hull. And if you do happen to have too many accuracies because you're rolling blues in here, or if you find that you just need to like accuracy the brace, you don't need to accuracy anything else anymore, weapons battery tech is in here to set your accuracies to a a critical effect. Passel, I like him if you have a light screen, and I will get to the screen later, because it just kind of naturally goes into 4 different commands, and technically on the 4th one, that's when you're going to activate getting that second dial, so it's really 3 turns of doing a command, and then like 4th turn you'll just have to do whatever one you have left, but you'll get that second dial. So generally my 4th round is like Confire, and then I can grab a nav or an engineering. And I think getting the Recusant, if you can keep him live, if you get to that round 4 and start getting double dials, can help him get away, can help him live, or can really help like nav and Confire to chase something down towards the end of the game. So I've tried him once or twice. I thought I'd try him again. 4th ship, Hardcell battle refit with just linked Turbolaser towers. Nice, efficient little hull here. Get the double arcs with Kraken. It's pretty consistent, and with the LTTs, it's pretty consistent. Helps out against squads with the LTTs, and then it's just another cheap ship. Since I needed 6 braces, 2 come from squads, I couldn't really afford Gazantes, so I was like, we'll throw a Hardcell in. It's plenty of firepower. Can help trigger Kraken's ability. The squads, I brought the 2 Tri-Fighter Squadrons. To meet the requirements, I needed unique squadrons only, and I needed 2 more braces. So I brought the brace scatter aces if Spike brought squads. These can be annoying, tie them up for a bit. And if he didn't bring squads, they were both black dice bomber, or not bomber, but black dice anti-ship. So decent chance at getting damage through, and they're scatter, so they're not going to be likely picked off by Phlac. Or at least not easily. Not without some investment, at least. And then for objectives, when I fight Kraken, I usually like going with the critical effect ones, but since I was flying some newer things with like the Recusant the Muni without like engine techs and with like the high capacity Ion Turbines, and also just the fact I didn't have the Gazantes to really make sure Kraken would work. I wasn't sure how useful Kraken would be in 4 ships. I decided to negate the crit effect objectives and just go like a standard set here. So most wanted, throw it on the generic Hardcell. Contested Outpost, sit back and let them come to me, let the Recusant flank off to a side as the Muni holds down the point. And Solar Corona, just see where they deploy. The only downside of a Muni is its max speed, so this really makes sure that you're not like out deployed and the Muni is just in a really bad position, especially without engine techs. Alright, so this is my fleet. Met all the conditions, came in at 400 points. Spike's fleet here came at 395, meeting that one requirement for a 5-point bid. He went with the Imperial side, and he brought good old Admiral Constantine. Only a second time I had faced this admiral, I believe, and was a lot of fun. We'll get to the game recap after this, but going through the ships. We have the Interdictor Suppression Refit with Admiral Constantine, Captain Nita, engine techs, disposable capacitors, the G8 experimental projector, targeting scramblers, overload pulse, interdictor. So a lot of speed control, a lot of threat actually from the overload pulse and decaps. If he double arcs you, I mean that's 6 blues, pretty good chance of just naturally getting that crit through. And to use with that overload pulse, he has an Imperial 1 with boarding troopers, Minister Tua, tractor beams, point defense ion cannons, linked turbolaser towers, and electronic countermeasures. Some more speed control. If you do get overload pulsed, get rid of 4 of your tokens with boarding troopers, and electronic countermeasures. Had to bring Minister Tua to meet the defense requirements portion of his fleet. Third ship, Gladiator 1 with Hondo. There mainly to, I believe, give the squad token over to the ISD for boarding troopers. Ornta experts, engine techs, external racks, demolisher. So good old, fast, hit hard, hit fast Gladiator 1. He brought a couple of TIE interceptors as a light screen. And his objectives were advanced gunnery, rift ambush, solar corona. So that is both fleets. I took captures of the end of deployment and the end of each round. I'll try and summarize how deployment went and how each round went. Give you an idea of how the game ended up. Okay. So we'll jump over here. This is deployment. End of deployment. He had the bid. He chose to go first, giving me second. I'm sure all these ships would situationally like to go first, so it made a lot of sense. I mean, with boarding troopers, overload pulse, and a demo, a lot of good options of going first. Obstacles were placed like such, and he deployed over here, giving me the option if I wanted to deploy on this side of the obstacles and make him come to me. I opted not to do that just because of all the speed shenanigans. I was really scared of being able to actually successfully navigate through here. If you land on an asteroid, like he can just slow you down to 1 and then G8 projectors with the ISD make you finish your movement on the asteroid again, which I believe would trigger it again. Just didn't sound like a fun time. I thought it would be more straightforward to just deploy over here, set the Corona on this side, and then force the demo to go out wide and these two to fly into me so that their main front arcs would be in the Corona, really negating hopefully their accuracies. What I quickly realized looking at this fleet and the deployment was normally I like to flank with the Recusant. And I kind of knew that since he was going to be slowing me down so much, it was kind of, if I tried going for a flank, I was going to end out like awkwardly up here, sideways. not able to like get around. So my plan here is to instead do this nice speed 3 move, come into here, and hopefully face off against these two. Hopefully the interdictor comes in first, and I can focus with the Recusant on the interdictor. The Muni was going to turn in, hopefully wedge itself in front of the ISD as it was coming in. That way the Recusant and the Muni could focus on the interdictor, and then focus on the ISD. Just ignore the Gladiator unless it gave us a really good shot, because he's going to flank around on the side and then go out long probably. So just survive him, try and mitigate the amount of damage he can do. This Hardcell maybe come up wide if he turns in like super sharp, or turn in sharp myself to kind of go in between the Muni and the Recusant. Help me fight off these two. This guy, this is Kraken, the blue one here. Basically just stay in range to beast of burden. Maybe throw occasional like red obstructed shots, be an activation delay. Maybe command squads if I need him to. That was kind of the plan I foresaw for the game after deployment here. So we'll go to end of round 1, see how that plan went. It went pretty okay. Gladiator was coming down, basically straight down. I was hoping he'd go a little bit more wide, but this is actually a really good position for it. He slowed down the interdictor, did some engine teching, I believe, round 1, and he sped up the ISD. I was really hoping that the interdictor would be a little bit farther forward and this would be a little bit further back to make it more clear that I'd be able to focus the interdictor. Didn't happen, but I'm still happy. I have the delay here. I have more activations than I'm going second, so I'm pretty sure I can wait out the interdictor coming in and try and focus that first, because with the targeting scramblers and all the speed shenanigans, just getting it off the board, and it's slightly easier to kill than the ISD. Constantine's my main target, and then hopefully I still have stuff alive to kill the ISD. If I can get like 1 or 2 shots from the Recusant into the ISD, I'm pretty confident I can kill that as well. It really depends on what Demo does the next turn. Really scared. He has a lot of options here at the start of the next round, what he wants to do. Demo could come in and get a nice positioning over here, which would make it a little awkward on what I was going to do. Constantine could decaps and then hope I fly in. A lot of different options. So it was really interesting to see what he would do. So we'll go to the end of round 2, try and explain what happened here in round 1. Or end of round 2, explain what happened in round 2. So this is the end of round 2. He started off by, at the beginning of round 2, he activated Constantine first, if memory serves. And he decaps. He tried doing the overload pulse. I evaded, canceled the critical effect, took a couple damage, nothing big. As he flew in, I went with the Muni. I believe Muni got some shots into the interdictor. He went with the ISD, forced me to spend, I basically spent all the defensive tokens on the Recusant, just mitigating damage. Even though it was at like long, I ended up with like no shields on one side. Everything was spent. This picture is actually after we had refreshed. So all the defensive tokens are already back, but he came in. At that point, all my defensive tokens were exhausted. I was kind of wondering what to do next. I opted for, and at that point the demo was still up here. So I was really scared of the demo then going and forcing me to use a bunch of my defensive tokens if it like flew up into here and did that nice side, X-Rex shot. So I decided to go with Kraken. I dropped to 0. I had exhausted my all my defensive tokens with Beast of Burn to refresh the majority of the Recusants. I also thought this posed an interesting conundrum for Spike. Now that this is 0 and I knew the Gladiator was here, I was really hoping when he went with the Gladiator he wouldn't X-Rax the Recusant. I was hoping he'd save it in hopes that the following turn he'd well, as you can see at the end of the round he positions here. So next round he set up in a really good thing to hit Kraken, who was at speed 0 with the demo. But I wanted to give him that choice because at this point, after the Recusant goes last here and shoots the interdictor, I know the interdictor is hurting, so it's really going to be a conundrum. I'm hoping for him to decide what to go with first. Probably still going to be the interdictor, but he might decide to go with this to kill the Kraken. I'm kind of hoping he does. That way I can kill the interdictor and then hopefully fly away or fly around the ISD here. Because having the Recusant right here in front of here with the ISD is not ideal. All those dice going into a Recusant is not what I wanted, but like I said, with Constantine, the G8s, the tractor beams, I had a nav token on this, and it was at 3, and it got dropped all the way down to 1 with just all the different effects happening to it. So as we go into round 3 here, I'm really hoping that I kill the interdictor, it doesn't get away. If it goes first and then flies away, it's big sad, basically game over. He wins. But bare minimum, kill the interdictor, hopefully keep Kraken alive, but if we trade admirals, I'm fine with that. Kraken was mainly here for the Recusant, otherwise just dice fixing, and the extra accuracies have already done wonders on the interdictor, as you can see. It's down to 3 hull, no shields, because the accuracies were locking the brace and the eat evade. I don't think he got to use them at all this round. Hard to tell since this picture is after we've refreshed. The only other thing of note is the Recusant, when it finally did go last, it did a cheap shot out the side into the demo. Didn't really do much, took a couple shields off. It activated, or it shot the front. That's why this thing is so beat up. I also activated squads. Got a chip damage in with this ace here, and then this ace killed one of them, killed one of his interceptors. This counter was great. 8 accuracy, hit, did a damage, and then this thing activated just normally at end of round and got another hit damage. I should have kept the ace a little bit further back so it wasn't engaged right away, I guess. But it's fine. So we'll go to end of round 3 and show you the carnage that happened in 3. So 3, there's a lot less stuff on the board. He did end up going with Constantine first in that interdictor. He did manage to get decaps off. Or not decaps, overload pulse. He had a hit, an accuracy, and a crit. There's nothing I could do about it. He accuracy'd my evade. Overload pulsed me, and then flew away. Off into my side arc way over here. I then had a decision if I wanted to go with the Recusant or if I wanted to go with the Kraken, who was at speed 0. I kind of knew if I didn't go with the Recusant, it was probably going to die from the ISD, and the only way I think I was really winning the game is if I killed the ISD, so it had to be the Recusant. And if I did manage to kill the interdictor with the side arc, it wouldn't be able to slow me down. I think I had some way to get up to 2. I must have had a nav token or nav dial queued up for that round. Hopefully I was going to get up to, if I killed the interdictor, I could go to 2, slip around the side. Well, what happened is I didn't manage to kill the interdictor because at this point it was in the rear arc, it still had shields up, and it was now into the Corona, so I think I had an accuracy which I had to get rid of. So Corona hurt me a little bit, but I did manage to strip the shields off. But Constantine was still alive. kept me basically locked in front of the ISD. I did get to shoot the ISD, did a bunch of damage to the front and the side with the Recusant, which I was happy about. Gave me in a position to actually kill it, because I think I did like 5 damage into it, 6 damage into it with the Recusant. Hard to remember exactly how that went. After the Recusant went, he went with the demo, because Recusant stuck in front of the ISD, no rush there. Demo came flying down. Had to use X-Rax, but did manage to get enough damage through into the weak side arc of the Hardcell to basically one-shot Kraken. It was a tough loss, but upside of that is Kraken was so far down here. Demo's basically out of the fight for the rest of the battle, I'm hoping. He might be able to turn around and sneak up behind the Muni. Hard to tell what was going to happen here. But at that point, like I said, Kraken had already done what Kraken was going to do, and we had traded admirals at that point. And at that point, I thought his admiral was probably more valuable than mine, so I was happy-ish with it. I then went with the Muni. Had a double flak shot, or a double arc shot, because it was a little bit further back. So the double arc slammed some more dice into the front. Really wore it down. As you can see, it's now down to 9 hull, because there are a couple rams that had the Recusant to finish it off, and then the Muni rammed it. The Muni did a bunch of damage to it, stripped the shields off both sides, stripped the front down to nothing, basically, because also that round, this Hardcell got to shoot. It did not actually. This is the final position. The Hardcell was back over here. It had the finish off. It took both the side and the double shot, the front shot to finish off that interdictor, because the side shot was like a damage that he evaded. It's kind of rough. So this is the end of round 3. Kind of interested to see what he does here. It could be demo to try and get up into a position to hit the Munificent. I don't fly a lot of demo, so I was kind of worried that, like, I'm not familiar with the nav path, especially with engine techs. I didn't know if he could actually get into range of a nice rear shot with it this turn. And then the ISD, I'm not too worried about. I have it double arced. I have thermals on this, so if I have to, he's only got this side arc into my side. I can tank that one, thermals the front, probably be okay. And then hopefully, if he does like another speed 1 move or speed 2 move even, I'm probably still getting a double arc with the Muni. And the Hardcell here is in a great position. If it does end up over here, I'll probably get a side and a front, and if he stays where he is, then I'll just shoot it with the front, which is the most powerful side on it anyway. Squadrons at the end, he activated first. He got another accuracy hit, killed my ace. The counter this time did like nothing, so it's still at 1. So we have squad left apiece. So we'll go to the end of round 4. This is the end of round 4. He did go with that demo that was back over here first. He tried getting around. I don't think he could quite turn as sharp as he wanted. Didn't really have arc, the side arc to my ship, because I was back a little bit further, because this is at the end of the round. So not a lot of damage happened at all from the demo, which was fine with me, because it let the Muni go in and shoot his double arc, which I did. Then the ISD went, he did the side shot into the Muni. Hurt a little bit. And then he did this nice little maneuver at speed 2 with a nav dial. He's still in a double arc from the Muni, but I managed to get more chip damage in with the Hardcell, and as you can see, after the double arc here, and I believe it was a double arc shot from this one, got him down to 1 health at the end of the round. Basically no defense tokens. He does have 2 shields in the rear and a redirect. I was really hoping this squad would carry the day, because if the squad does, at squad activation, his interceptor was too far back to actually tie this up. So if this squad could roll that last damage into ISD, that means hopefully the Hardcell could live and be a nice margin of victory. If this didn't roll to kill it, then this Hardcell's probably dying because ISD would go first and obliterate the Hardcell. And as you can see, since it's end of round, squad was not able to finish off the ISD. It rolled a hit. The ISD had PDX, maybe reroll into a blank, and Womp Womp came up blank, and it lived. So we'll go to end of round 5. Round 5, even less ships. He went first with the ISD. ISD absolutely obliterated the Hardcell. And it started flying off in the distance. I still had like just a little bit of blue range, because at this point the Muni was still this way. The ISD ended up over here. Muni still had blue range, so that extra blue dice came in handy. Rolled the side shot and got like 6 damage. I only needed like 3, I think. It died. I think I got a little chip shot in on the demo because it used some defensive tokens, but didn't really matter. I think it was like 1 or 2 damage. At this point, he decided to disengage with demo. And then his interceptor flies away. I don't have a squad dial queued up on the Muni, so there's no way my squadron will be able to kill it on round 6. And it's down in flak range, so we decided to call here at the end of 5 as we're all flying away. So at the end, he had his demo left with 1 interceptor. I had my ace with the Muni. 21 MOV to me, so I get a 6.5, which is actually 7.5 tournament points because I met all the requirements, to Spike's 6.5 because he met all the requirements as well. So it was a really fun game. I really liked experimenting with new things. It was fun to go against Constantine if you like really stack the speed shenanigans, especially with like a Recusant. You're so used to being able to like, when I do fly them, you can like really flank with them and go out wide, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that because he'd slow me down, so I was really forced to treat it like a Providence and just get in there. They really don't like being like Providences. But we managed to come out with a narrow win. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what restrictions I get for next week and what kind of restrictions my opponents has. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, if you're curious about what all the restrictions are, they are posted, they're pinned in the Iron Shift tournament like thread on the Armada Discord, and you can go into the Google Sheet and check them all out. If you have any questions or thoughts about what I could have done differently with the restrictions, I really thought about an SSD or a Starhawk, but decided to go with the Nova Defiant. Be sure to leave comments. Otherwise, have a good day.